Hi, my name is Natalie Leszewski. My presentation was over Chapter 5. Chapter 5 was basically on the race, gender, sexual, class inequalities. I chose to do two of them actually over race, and one of them includes a little bit of class problems. My first article was over the discrimination. The New York Times actually did a presentation or an experiment in a high school and asked about 101 black teens or African American teens how many times they've encountered racism in their high school or middle school. There was 5,600 collective in 2 weeks over these 101 black teens. So that meant about 7 encounters a day per person and 70 over 2 weeks for every person. That takes a toll on you as a African American, this happens everywhere. It's not just African American teens, it's Hispanic teens, it's Asian teens. Right now we're seeing a lot of anti-Asian. Why do we have to judge people based on what other people look like them have done? So, for example, we see all these black or African Americans stealing. Well, there's white people that steal, but we judge them because they're what's on the news. We judge the African Americans because that's what's shown on the news, that they were stealing, not that this white person did the same thing with them. So that's kind of what my first one was about. Like, why do we judge people? They just because they look like someone. It talked about the different kind of names that they were called, the hurtful names. My second article was over class and prejudice. So it talked a lot about how this pandemic right now has affected Hispanics and African Americans mentally. Most of them cannot afford insurance or do not want to go visit counselors for the specific reason that they feel like they will be judged based on their race or even their class, just because they can't afford insurance. There's a lot of places that will accept people that can't afford insurance, and I really liked this picture that I have on this slide because see how there's 3 white people, they're all talking to each other. They're all looking away from the African American man. That's kind of how it feels. They're all dressed the same, but just because he's a different color, they're all looking away from him. My couple questions for the class is, why do we target people that are different than us? We target these people, we call them names. We say, yeah, well, you're not allowed to be here because you're a certain race or a certain ethnicity. And then this next one is, why do you think it's so hard for some people to see a counselor based on race? Why do we think it's so hard for them just to walk in and be like, hey, I'm having some issues? And then what are some things we can do to help the uninsured? So these people don't feel like they have to hide or feel unsafe or deal with their mental illnesses by themselves. Just because they don't have insurance doesn't mean they have to do that. So yeah, that's a little sum up about what my articles and what my chapter was about. Thank you.